Gold prospecting is nothing more and nothing less than a numbers game. The amount of gold you take home is directly proportionate to how much dirt you move and how much gold is in that dirt.
100 no-name brand buckets and, Gadsy, a deep frying basket. Sluicing for Gold is doing a 100 bucket challenge, and I ran some maths on this because that's what I do.
100 bucket challenge might sound insane to some people, but to someone like me who's a glutton for punishment, I look at that and I go, let's go!
You see, the maths actually makes sense. If I can get 0.3 in every bucket of dirt that I work, I'll come out with an ounce of gold. That's over 3,000 Australian dollars. And here's the best part. Even if I don't get 0.3 per bucket, say I get 0.1, just 30%, I'm still going to walk away with over 10 grams of gold. The only thing I have to make sure of is to do regular test pans so I know if there is actually gold in the dirt I'm putting down my sluice box. Obviously, a big part of the challenge is going to be physical. 100 buckets of dirt, that's a lot of dirt. And the main problem I'm going to have is trying to keep on pay dirt that has enough gold in it to get my 0.3 a bucket. But outside of that, it's not a ridiculous challenge. It's just going to take some concerted effort. This is probably going to be a multi-part series for that reason. But by the end of it, I should have a nice shiny pile of gold. And all I have to do now is find a deposit worth working. And I think I found a spot that I can get my first few buckets from. We have well over 100 specks of gold in this pan, and I know from personal experience, 100 specks a pan works out to be roughly about 1 gram of gold every 100 shovels. Besides my gold pan, I'm using a couple of other pieces of equipment. A 20 litre Buddings bucket. A 20 litre no-name bucket. And a brand new piece of kit that I'm super excited about, this. For years, I've always wanted an arbor fabricating classifier from the United States, but they're super expensive to get here in Australia. And that's where Matt's crevice tools came in. Matt is a professional welder, and he started making these baskets in-house here in Australia. I've left his product page up in my description below. Go check it out. You can now get one of these way cheaper than you can order it from the US. Now this is kind of an awkward place to film, but we're going to make do. Man, that's fast. I know. You're worried that I'm going to be throwing away nuggets because I'm classifying. However, I give to you Reedy Creek, home of literally no nuggets. I have never personally pulled a nugget anywhere near that size out of Reedy Creek before. We're definitely not throwing any away. And now that I put that into the universe, I'll probably throw away an ounce one. Just 2 of these, and I've over half filled the bucket. Alright, this bucket can take a little bit more, and then it is time to sluice. Yep, just 99 more to go. The first little scoopy of this challenge. Oh yes! I am using the Dream Mat mini cell, not the micro, the one that sits between the big one and the really small one. That one. And up the top here, we've got a sawtooth mat from Washington Beach Mining. This is a great display mat. Shows you what's going down the sluice without you having to do a full clean out. I'm not even half a bucket in, I'm already starting to see some nice gold.
Just downstream from me, this is the spot that Gadsy managed to pull over 6 grams of gold just panning. Now, I wasn't in a spot quite as rich, but it was still proving to be pretty good. And mini sluice boxes just like this one are the perfect tool to take to the creek to move slightly more dirt and give your old bones a break while you're out prospecting. Now, I was hoping that this spot would give me a decent take of gold by the end of the day. And it didn't take too long to start seeing Reedy Creek's famous fine gold accumulate in the mat.
First bucket, all in the sluice box.
And that's way better than in the ground waiting for someone else to come pick it up. I'd much rather have that gold.
And man, if you can see through the glare, we did get a fair bit of gold out of that bucket. But that's only one bucket. I gotta do 99 more.
Ooh, mama. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call a Reedy Creek nugget. It's just a big flake,
But that's about as big as the gold gets on this creek. Not to mention all the other gold that's starting to appear in the sawtooth mat at the top. Again, that's not to trap the gold, that's just to show you what's going down the sluice box. Which means hiding deep in the layers of these cells is going to be good gold. Let's Scooby!
I have 100 buckets to do. I've done 2. It's going to take me a little while. So I'm going to put the phone down and I'm going to see you on my 10th bucket.
A hot pause.
When your prospecting partner, Sir Gadsden, also known as Senor Sweatpants, goes, "Hey, get your camera," and waddles over with a shovel, you've got to get your camera. Sir Sweatiest Pantses. Good Lord.
I think I found the black sand.
I think you found where the tin lives. Oh my God.
I've not seen that since
The really rich creek
Yeah,
that we
really
shall
rich.
not name on camera.
No, we shall not.
You're definitely finding more gold than I, sir.
I don't know about that.
Well, you're finding more black
I'm
sand.
finding more black sand.
It's test pan time because we've got to make sure that we're still on the gold.
Gadsy's not the only one that just found a ridiculous amount of black sand in their spot.
The black sand in Reedy Creek is cassiterite.
That's tin ore. It's non-magnetic, and it is an absolute motherfucker to separate away from the gold. Because it's non-magnetic, it means I've got to use gravity separation methods. And do I look like a physicist? I'm going to show Gadsy my black sand, and he's going to show me his gold. First, the relatively boring bit. Look at my black sand. That's one shovel.
Oh yeah. I've worked out where it's coming from.
Where?
You get this grey, broken up bedrock, and it's just littered through it like big stuff. Littered in the sense that
How many pans is that?
7.
7 pans. 7 pans? I should be digging where you're digging.
No, sorry mate, you can't do that.
Just a little bit of gold, mate.
I'm all for the black sand, really.
Of course.
I love black sand. It's one of my
So
favourite
nice.
things.
Get rid of that pesky. You can give it to me if you
No,
want.
Yeah, if you want. Here.
Just yesterday I was working about 15 meters down past Gadsy and I got a ridiculous amount of gold. I'll link that video up above. But it was too far away from where I could set the sluice box up, which the nearest spot is behind me. That's why I'm over there. I'm still getting okay gold though. Look at this. Plenty of black sand, which is always the indicator for a lot of gold. And it's very fine, not big coarse chunky flakes like Gadsy's, but just as many specks. They're small, but they are mighty. You just wait and see when we do the cleanup. You're gonna be in Bonanza City soon, mate!
I hope so. I hope I'm going to be a guy in Bonanza City.
Was that like English?
Watch it.
I'm watching.
Can you see that pocket right
That's
there?
a little bit ridiculous.
Red
Could you
dot
just
there.
be a little bit more serious? Now that I know that we're on the gold, get in the bucket. For those of you playing at home, this is my 5th bucket. And that's what the top mat looks like after just 4 of them. That's pretty freaking sweet. Gadsy downstream is on an absolute bonanza city. We're talking probably 0.1, 0.2 grams of gold every single pan, let alone bucket.
Look at that! The mayor of Bonanza City!
Ah! Oh my God! Is that
One pan!
one pan? Oh! Yeah, you get the Mayor of Bonanza City title.
The man's back. Got
That's
the key to the city.
unbelievable. One pan.
Mayor of Bonanza City.
And so for that reason, because this is my 6th bucket, not my 10th, and I'm going to run out of time before that storm comes through and tries to wash me out of the creek,
I thought I'd go back to hand dredging the bottom where I was getting the best pans. And the 6th bucket today is going to be my last one. Oh, a lot of work to do. In theory, because I dredged the bottom of the creek off, this is where the best gold of this entire session should be. I took all of this bucket from the richest spots that I worked. Hopefully, there'll be some gold in it for me.
That's right, unfortunately we did have a storm moving through the system, and Reedy Creek is one of the places that likes to flash flood. Being in Reedy Creek when you've got heavy rain upstream is not a good idea. So I got my last bucket sluiced just prior to that storm setting in and chasing us away from the gold.
This is what I call an average spot on Reedy. Where Gadsy's working and where I was working the other day downstream is what I would call an excellent spot. So whatever weight I get out of this spot is what we can kind of expect in general. But I'm hoping to find really good spots like that. Preferably near running water that has a drop. So I can run my river sluice and recover all those golds. 6 no brand buckets, 120 litres or about 26 gallons, I think that is, worth of pay dirt from this spot. And whilst we still have 94 buckets to go, this looks like a decent enough start to me. Just in the top show mat, we are looking at thousands of pieces of gold, hundreds in every riffle. And that's not even including the gold that's going to be locked up in these cells. Like I've done that before. She's looking pretty healthy. By far the best bit. The gold on Reedy Creek is really fine, and that means that it sort of hides in the black sand and slightly under it. It will never really sink all the way through. There's no way I'm doing a clean up here on the creek. I'm going to take all of it home and run it through some cleanup sluices, but that was just what's in the show mat at the top. That is good gold. That fine gold sure does add up when you start moving volume. There's going to be even more gold in this mat here. Clean the bed of the sluice. And this is just the rough reveal before we take it home and clean it up properly. We need about 1.8 grams to average for our 0.3 grams per bucket. I don't know if there's going to be 1.8 grams in here, but either way, considering it was only 6 buckets, I still think we're going to do pretty damn well out of this ground. It's been like well over a month since I filmed that video, and this is our concentrates from the creek. But I need to let you know something, is that YouTube be unsubscribing people from my channel, and you might be unsubscribed and not know it. So make sure you check down below and hit that sub button and all bells notifications if you don't want to miss more debauchery and full sentences of English. In order to clean this, I have a gold pan full of water, another pan slightly full of water, and a couple of classifiers. Because the tin's non-magnetic and I have to use gravity separation methods, classifiers like this make it much easier. This is a 50 mesh screen. That's the first screen that we're going to do. It's basically a time capsule. So I'm going to save these for later. I have heaps of different cleanup sluices that you could use to make this a lot quicker and a lot easier, but there's not that much concentrates here, and I enjoy panning, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Normally, I would do this 1 teaspoon at a time, and we still might revert back to doing that, but to start with, I'm just going to try and get most of the blonde sands off. They tend to come away a lot easier. After a quick session, I'm definitely going to need to do this 1 teaspoon at a time. Smaller amounts like this are much more manageable, especially if you're using a small gold pan. And I like to use the XP gold pans because they have the snakeskin riffles, and those snakeskin riffles make panning down these sort of concentrates a heap easier. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do believe they are one of the best pans on the market at the moment. Once you've reduced it a little bit, I like to just go back to the regular old pan down methods. It's a little bit faster and a little bit more accurate. We just want to suck the majority of the gold up. We don't mind if it gets a little dirty. We don't mind a dirty gold around here.
That's about how much gold I'm getting out of every single teaspoon, which is pretty good. Remember, I only ran 6 buckets, so I don't need heaps and heaps of gold from this tiny run. If I can get over a gram, I'd be pretty happy. It absolutely must be mentioned that you do not need to watch these videos in a series. I'm making them standalone videos that will make sense on their own. The very next teaspoon, and it is looking pretty much identical, so I think we're going to be in for over a gram today. Well, at least I'd really like it to be over a gram. You and I and half a dozen other people watching this video are all going to find out at about the same time. Before we continue the cleanup, if you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do that is to grab some merch from the shop down below off the old multi, or some paydirt, some gemstones, and crystals. All of it goes into the bone fund. All of the minus 50 measures now in our snuffer bottle. We've significantly reduced the black sand, but we do have a little bit more to go. We'll do that in the final cleanup. All of our big flakes and chunks should be in here. Should be. Voila! Generally speaking, this is a lot easier to pan down. We actually have a little crystal here. That's kind of neat. And usually Reedy Creek cons contain a lot of different gemstones and different oddities, but sapphires, rubies, garnets are all very common, and occasionally people even find yellow diamonds, which is pretty cool, but they are not common. A lot of people think that the citrines that they're finding are in fact Reedy Creek diamonds. Right there, we've got that Reedy Creek nugget, very loose term nugget. That's a pretty good flake for Reedy. That only took about 4 minutes to clean down to this. We didn't get too many big bits, but at least we got some. We'll add the rest of the gold to it. There's a little bit here. I don't think we're going to get much more than about a gram, but still, pretty good take for only 6 buckets. Now, even though I was hoping for a 0.3, and it doesn't look like we got a 0.3 per bucket this time, the next several sessions after this in the bucket challenge are unbelievable. This here is definitely going to be a 3+ gram day. And I know it might be hard to believe, but in that bucket down there are actual nuggets. I found a creek where every single pan was giving me multiple pickers. That's my dirty workbench, and this is the gold I managed to recover sluicing. Whatever this weighs, I have to divide it by 6. That's going to give us our per bucket total. I was genuinely expecting to get a little bit more out of that session. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, so I would like to see 3/4 of a gram. Leave your guess below. Hopefully we get somewhere close to that. 0.668, that's alright. At today's gold prices, it's about $70 worth of gold, or about $12 of gold in every single bucket. That means over 100 buckets, I'll be getting around 10 grams of gold. I'm going to be keeping track of every single day that I pan, so day 1 we got 0.67 grams. And I know that those buckets have a ridiculous amount of gold in them, far more than what I got out of this session. So how much gold do you think I'm going to get by the end of this challenge?